What's up, guys? It's your boy Anomaly from Sweden. Just kidding. No, it's Masky, and I wanted to make a whisper ramble about video games because I kept on getting comments asking if I was Anomaly. I'm not Anomaly, but maybe one day the channel can grow to be that size. I like one of his channels. It'd be cool. It is a hard world out there. But because people kept asking, I was like, well, why don't I make a whisper ramble about video games? I used to be big into video games when I was a kid, and well, I'm not so much anymore outside of like Candy Crush and like New York Times crosswords, keeping it MLG. I just thought it would be interesting. So anyways, I hope that you will enjoy this video, and let's begin. And I actually just filmed this video once already, but the audio that came out was from my laptop's microphone. At any rate, I wanted to talk to you guys about video games today. Now, I don't play too many video games in this day and age, but I used to love them. I was around for the PS1, PS2 era, a little bit of the N64. And, I want to say my favorite era for gaming was PS1 era. And back then I had a lot of stuff like, to clarify, I had a modded PS1. And basically what it was we could download any games we wanted from LimeWire. You download them, you burn them onto a CD, and then the PlayStation can play them. I thought that was cool. So we had a bunch of games. We had Galarians. We had Resident Evil. We had, what is that game called? Legend of Dragoon. Rainbow Six. We just had a bunch of games. One that people hate but I thought was good was Simpsons Wrestling. But yeah, so, I would love to play games back then. One of my favorites was a game called, are you kidding me? I forgot what it's called. Grind Session. It was like a Tony Hawk kind of game. I think it probably was made as a cash-in, but it played a lot different. It was actually a lot more difficult, I find, than Tony Hawk. And I played that game so much that I got blisters on my thumbs. And I thought that was just like a meme. But no, you actually can play a video game so much that you get that blister. But funny thing about the place that we got that modded PlayStation 1 from, so it was a really cool place where you could get like N64, PlayStation, Dreamcast, which I don't even remember being around, but it was. Well, that business eventually burned down for insurance money, and the person who ran it fled to Texas. I think that maybe he was a fan of Mina. I don't know why he fled to Texas. It was random, but he left. He got the heck out of Dodge, and it sucks because his store was really cool. But yeah, so I would love games like Galarians. One of my favorite ones was a game called Thrill Kill, which never actually was released, believe it or not. What happened was the game was in the process of being made, and it was pretty much done. They submitted it to the ESRB, and it got an adults-only rating. And I can kind of see why. Literally, the whole goal of the game is to beat the crap out of other people and try to get out of hell. And all the characters are modeled after like a circus sideshow. Have you ever seen like a movie where it takes place in like a carnival? And they have like the quote-unquote freak show. Well, it was like one guy was like a dwarf dude who had like a traditional devil costume on, and he stood on stilts, and his fatality was he would kick people's heads off. There was like a dominatrix who would like wrap her legs around them and then like hump them or something until their head exploded. This head. And there was there was this big like flesh gorilla guy. He had like the proportions of a gorilla, but he would like crush him. It was just a very weird game. And I remember my dad, He slapped me across the face because I played that game. I don't know why it was one of the games I liked playing, but I mean, it was okay. I mean, looking back at it now, it's crappy, but another weird one. This was rated teen, believe it or not. It's called Danger Girl, and it's based off a comic about, like, it's like these spies or whatever, but like one prominent thing about the comic and apparently the game, which I didn't remember, was that like their nipples were like, you could see them. I don't know. I remember I played Blade for that system, PlayStation 1. It was okay. The camera's too weird and like the movement's too jittery. But a really good one that I bet you a lot of people will remember was that Spider-Man game. That game was awesome. In the opening segment, you see Eddie Brock transform into Venom. And it's actually pretty creepy. I have to be honest, like, it's scary. It scared me when I was a kid anyway. I never got to play the second one, but I liked the first one a lot. I think Black Cat was in it too, but that might have been the second one. But that game was awesome. I liked Worms Armageddon. I like space shooter games, and I really liked I mentioned Galarians. It's kind of similar to Parasite Eve. There's a lot of like telepathy and stuff, and like I remember one person, you find them dead in like a closet, and it's creepy. It's a very weird game. It's creepy though. They made a sequel called Galarian's Ash, which it didn't do very well and basically killed the series. Look at how they massacred my boy. But it's okay because at least they got 2. I don't even know who owns like the rights to that series anymore, but it'd be cool to own them. Another one to check out, Baroque. It's kind of hard to explain. There's a Baroque for PS2. It's Atlas, I believe, but that's not the same game. The Baroque I'm talking about was for PS1, and it was like a first-person kind of like picture, almost like King's Quest, but with less like it's turn-based. It plays like Persona kind of, and we had Persona as well. I liked Persona 1. I would sometimes have nightmares about walking down the hallways full of lockers, but it was lucid nightmares. So. But I would love to play Dino Crisis too. I remember one time the video game Playboy the Mansion came out, and I got grounded for looking up images of Playboy the Mansion. But there was a bunch of weird games like that for PS2, like the Guy game. And did you know, the Guy game for PS2, one of the people lied about their age, and so that game was sort of in like a gray area where they had to take it off shelves, and like everything was censored in the game, I believe, but they had to take it off shelves. But I mean, there were a fair amount of PlayStation 2 games that had like boobs in them, which is really weird if you think about it. Like, God of War. When the first game came out in that series, my dad rented it, and we were like sitting as a family, and all of a sudden there's just like boobs on the screen. It's like, oh. One that I rented when I was a little kid was Parappa the Rapper, but I was dumb, so I couldn't figure it out. But I had SSX Tricky when that game came out. I got it for Christmas, and that was actually a pretty good game. I can never beat it though. I mean, like, there's a lot. Like, Philsoma is a good one. It's like a scary kind of space shooter, and the sequel is a full-on survival horror game. What else did I have? I think I mentioned Dino Crisis 2. We had Resident Evil 3, Legend of Dragoon, Rival Schools, which Rival Schools is a really good name for a game, but the game itself wasn't really all that fun. It was like a fighting game. What else did we even have? Because I had like a bunch of consoles too. Like, I didn't just own a PS1 and a PS2. We had a Wii, which, I wish they still had the Wii Games Store. Anyone who wasn't around is missing out. They had so many cool games on there. They had like N64 games. I don't think they had any GameCube games, but they had up to the N64. They had one game called Splatterhouse. That game was fun. I had that, Splatterhouse and Splatterhouse 2. I think they were like $5 each or something. They were so fun. It's like a side-scrolling game. You walk around and have to like fight monsters. Obviously, ghosts and goblins. That's really fun. I had it on Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance. I used to love that one. I never got a chance to play it, but I always wanted to play like those Castlevania ones. I think Symphony of the Night is one I wanted to play, and I never got around to trying them. I did get to try like a what do they call it? Metroidvania games. I had Metroid Fusion, which the whole reason why I got that game was because originally my dad's friend had got me a Turok Evolution for Game Boy Color, which apparently it's like that game's like Contra and really fun. But instead, like, it was rated M, so my dad wouldn't let me have it. But instead, I got Metroid Fusion, and it was pretty good. It's a weird game too. I wish they had Earthbound for Game Boy Color. Well, I mean, I think they actually do, but only in Japan. Or Mother, it's called, which I think is a better name. Man, have you heard about Gygas? What a weird guy. Like the weird guy. What a weird enemy. But like, that's the thing. A lot of people like playing games, but I think I would like making games more. And I can't code unless it's talking like maybe a visual novel. It'd be cool to be able to like hire someone to take the ideas that I take from my nightmares, which I really do this. Anytime I have a nightmare, I'll write down what it was, and then I can take that and use it for like ideas for visual novel stories that can be fleshed out. And I don't know if you ever had this thought, but it almost seems like maybe a dream is like entering into a different realm and being able to take things from that realm and come back. It's almost like a short visit. And it does seem weird to me that like the human mind, unconsciously when you're sleeping, can come up with all these interesting ideas and you don't know where they came from. Like, I've had many weird dreams. Like a dude, here's one that I don't want to say outright what my dreams are about, because if I ever want to make a visual novel, if I'm ever able to, which would be amazing, but I'm not particularly good at like writing stories. Like, there was a plastic crow that was like attacking people in an abandoned school, and then it turns out like the guy that they were attacking was like a criminal. You can infer what he did, and then they leave him in the school. And like another one where a person was in a white chamber and they were using it as, this is like a dream. I can tell a little bit about this one. It's a white chamber in like when it took place, I don't really know, but we'll just say it's in the future. They start testing out this complete deprivation room called a white chamber. And then, because they think it's cruel and unusual punishment because it drives the prisoners insane, the warden agrees to go in, and then he loses it, and that's the story. Not much of a twist, but I want to make one of these about like filmmaking too, because I'd like to make like just low shot on video movies. But I don't know. There's so many cool visual novels for PlayStation 1, and it's such a shame that they never ported these things to the US. Because, like, can you imagine, like, if they just took off, it would have been great, because do you know how simple it would have been to make them? And there actually was a series in Japan called The Simple, and they used to be up to, I think, PS3, and they'd make just a whole bunch of different genres of game, like comedy, puzzle, horror, visual novels as well. And there was just so many. It was like a hive of creativity, because they could just do whatever they wanted, and for the cheap put out these games that over here would be called shovelware. But there was so many diamonds in the rough with that series. I just wish they would have had some more success out here, though they did actually port several of those, just under different names. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like games, but I'd like to be on like the scenario creating side more, or like the story creating side more, because I'm not good at like scripting or fleshing out a story into like an idea into an actual full story, but I would be able to come up with scenarios for them. Because I keep notes, like a dream journal, except for it's every, like, nightmare I have. And that way I can use elements of it for whatever. Sometimes I've had full, like, movies, and I write down as much as I can from them, but I don't remember my dreams much. But I have one really nice memory of playing games from back when I was a kid. My mother and my father separated, so I would go to my mother's house. It was an apartment very high up in the air. And I had one of those RCA TVs where it's like a stand with a TV built in the center and then the speakers. So the TV and then the speakers and stand. And I had a VHS player hooked up to there, and I was a die-hard Scooby-Doo fan. Like, die-hard, loved that. I would always watch that, and I'd always play Tony Hawk. And I would just, like, record it and then watch it over, and record it and watch it over. It was a really weird hobby. But I just loved those games. And that time was nice, I guess, too. It was easier. But, I don't know. It really was nice. I have one funny memory. This is a game that not many people have played for GameCube, but Reckless, the Yakuza missions. When I was like 6 or so, I went to like Walmart, and I asked the clerk, I was with my parents, and I asked the clerk, do you have any video games where you can run people over? And he's like, yeah, this one. And gave me Reckless, the Yakuza missions, which, by the way, you can't run people over in that game, but you can destroy a lot of the environment, and it's pretty fun. I always did find cars and stuff like that cool. I remember my mom's husband had it was an old school 90s Mitsubishi, like something you'd see out of Initial D, and it had like the nitro or whatever, and you would speed, which I don't know why you do that in the city limits, because like, there's not really anywhere to go. It's not, well, I mean, street racing, but I don't know. Like I said, I wish that I played more games, but most of the time I find myself wanting to make them. But I want you guys to leave recommendations for games to try down in the comments, because I do find it interesting, and I'll look up some of the games and check them out. But yeah, I know this video is a little bit shorter, but I wanted to make something because there's so many Anomaly references. I know Anomaly makes gameplay videos and stuff, so I thought, why not? But I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. I appreciate it a lot. I'm gonna work on more videos, and the plan is a video every day this month, and then after that, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And yeah, eventually, hopefully, the channel will be able to make like income, and eventually like be able to grow. And I will upgrade. I know I say it a lot, but I will upgrade the background and everything. That's one of the first things, is I want to get like a black sheet that I can put against the wall, and if I can, like a camcorder, so that I can get like higher quality video that I can hook up this microphone to. And obviously eventually maybe one of those ear microphones, a 3DO. I think that's what it's called. It'd be cool to have one. But I'm wishing you guys pleasant dreams, and I'm gonna have to think of something to make for